This is what you want. I warned you. I warned you ahead of time. I said, okay, we won't do it. We won't read anymore. And then everyone in chat said, LFS. Maybe we check in 15 minutes and see where we go. I'm not going to do a poll right now because I know LFS would win. But I think it's good to outline what LFS is. LFS is an entirely from scratch Linux, meaning no distribution, no package manager, nothing. You just go. Now, we've already done Gentoo on stream, and it's actually really not that bad. Gentoo, and they actually package like with emerge and other things. It actually, Gentoo has a package manager now, so not everything is compiled. It's not actually that bad. Okay. All right. A by-the-book LFS system is fairly minimal and designed to provide a strong base in which you can add any packages you want. All right, we're doing this. BLFS project. What is Beyond Linux from Scratch? Is a project that continues the LFS. Oh Lord. Okay. So where do we get started here is the question. So we have the LFS from scratch. Now, let's say we want to do it. Let's go read online. The current latest LFS book is considered stable. Most people will want to read this book. All right. Then you got the System D version of LFS. All right. Let's click one of these. What is this? Nothing. All right. Linux from scratch. Huh. This looks like it might be interesting, guys. How big is it? All right. The forward. Not everything in emerge is a binary, but a lot of things are. Yeah. So, I mean, Gentoo doesn't have the same flair as back in the day. All right. LFS. Let's go with the forward. Get ready to either go to sleep or enjoy me suffering through Linux from scratch. Here we go. My journey to learn and better understand Linux began back in 1998. I was in high school in 1998. I had just installed my first Linux distribution and had quickly become intrigued with the whole concept and philosophy behind Linux. There are always many ways to accomplish a single task. The same can be said about Linux distributions. A great many have existed over the years. Some still exist, some have morphed into something else, yet others have been relegated to our memories. They all do different things to suit the needs of their target audience. Because so many different ways to accomplish the same end goal exists, I began to realize I no longer had to be limited by any one implementation. Prior to discovering Linux, we simply put up with issues in other operating systems, as you had no choice, you dirty Windows and Mac users. It was what it was. Whether you liked it or not, with Linux, the concept of choice began to emerge. If you didn't like something, you were free, even encouraged, to change it. I tried a number of distributions and could not decide on any one. There were great systems in their own right. It wasn't a matter of right or wrong anymore. It had become a matter of personal taste. With all the choices available, it became apparent that there would not be a single system that would be perfect for me. So I set out to create my own Linux system that would fully conform to my personal preferences. To truly make it my own system, I resolved to compile everything from source code, including of using pre-compiled binary packages. The perfect Linux system would have the strengths of various systems without their perceived weaknesses. At first, the idea was rather daunting. I remained committed to the idea that such a system could be built. After sorting through issues such as circular dependencies and compile time errors, I finally built a custom Linux system. It was fully operational and perfectly usable like any other Linux system out there at the time. But it was my own creation. It was very satisfying to have put together such a system myself. The only thing better would have been to create each piece of software myself. This was the next best thing. As I shared my goals and experiences with other members of the Linux community, it became apparent that there was a sustained interest of these ideas. It quickly became plain that such a custom-built Linux system served not only to meet user-specific requirements, but also serve as an ideal learning opportunity for programmers and system administrators to enhance their existing Linux skills. Out of the broadened interest, the Linux from Scratch project was born. This Linux from Scratch book is the central core around the project. It provides the background and instructions necessary for you to design and build your own system. While this book provides a template that will result in a correctly working system, you are free to alter the instructions to suit yourself, which is, in part, an important part of this project. You remain in control. We just lend a helping hand to get you started on your own journey. I sincerely hope you will have a great time working on your Linux from Scratch system and enjoy the numerous benefits of having a system that is truly your own. This is the precursor to Linux from Scratch, and I had to read it because y'all don't know what we're in for. You just thought, hey, the cool kids said Linux from Scratch, and you all just went along with it. It's time to rename it. Got to rename the streams. 1 second. Linux from Scratch. It's happening. Let's come to here. Oh, it still said day 1 on Rustlang. Oh, my bad. We probably should change from game and software development to science and technology. Switching out of software. Into science we go. This is going to be a lot of text. Here we go. And now we start. Audience, LFS, target architectures. Okay, we're going to skip some of this. Primary target architecture for Linux from Scratch is AMD 32 and 64-bit CPUs. Okay, great. Let's get to it. Prerequisites. Building an LFS system is not a simple task. Oh, shit. You're kidding. It requires a certain level of existing knowledge of Unix system administration in order to resolve programs and correctly execute the commands listed. And particularly as an absolute minimum, you should already know how to use the command line shell to copy and move files into directories, list directories, and file contents, and change the current directory. It is also expected that you know how to use and install Linux software. Because the LFS book assumes at least this basic level of skill, the various LFS support forums are unlikely to provide you with much assistance in these areas. You will find questions regarding such basic knowledge like go unanswered and will simply be referred to LFS Essential pre-reading list. Thank you, Secret Squirrel, for joining the techs on YouTube. All right, here we go. So before building an LF system, we urge you to read these articles: Software Building How-To, and also Beginner's Guide to Installing from Source. Now, I already know how to do installing from source and everything. Most of this is just like using make, I want to say. Although it might have a different interpretation. I usually use GCC, but we will see if we're running problems. I'm not going to read that. I think we're okay. But important note. All right, LFS and standards. Let's see what this one's about. Norm, thanks for the prime. The structure of LFS follows Linux standards as closely as possible. The primary standards are POSIX, File System Hierarchy, File System Hierarchy Standard, Linux Standard Base, LSB. Okay, packages supplied by LFS needed to satisfy the LSB requirements. Bash, sweet. BC, bin utils, core utils, and so on. Oh, that looks good. Let's go. I think we're good. Most of this looked pretty easy. Super simple. Hardly an inconvenience. Rationale for packages in the book. Okay, well, I don't need rationale. We already know that. Typography. To make things easier to follow, this section contains top. Okay. No. I think we're ready. Introduction. 1.1. Let's get it. The LFS system will be built using an already installed Linux distribution such as Debian, Mandriva. Is Mandriva still a thing? I don't know. Fedora, OpenSUSE, the existing Linux system, the host, which will be used as a starting point to provide necessary packages, including a compiler, linker, and shell, and build a new system such as development during the distribution installation to include these tools. As an alternative to installing separate distributions on your machine, you can do live CD. We're fine here. Chapter 2, book describes how to create a new Linux native partition and file system where the new LFS system is compiled and installed. Chapter 3, packages and patches, downloaded to build LFS. Package 4, set up appropriate working environment. Also explains several important issues before you begin your way through Chapter 5 and beyond. Okay. So then we have explains the installation and initial tool chain. This is like GCC used to build stuff, bin utils for, I believe, executing. And then libc is just a standard C library. Using cross-compile techniques to isolate new tools and host systems. Shows you cross-compile basic utilities. All right. Then enters a chroot environment where we use new tools to build all the rest of that needed in LFS. Okay. So like with Arch, you'll do all the build and chroot, do like an arch-chroot into the new environment, and then you actually do it from there. The full-blown LFS system is built in Chapter 8. Another advantage provided by the chroot is it allows you to continue using the host system while LFS is being built. All right. I mean, honestly, from this perspective, I think we can just do a normal VM probably in this regard. We might actually do a live CD now that I'm thinking about it. Or I kind of want to do an Arch install in the VM and then go from there. ProMaster, thanks for the Prime. To finish the install, the basic system configuration to be set up in Chapter 9. The kernel and bootloader are created in Chapters 10 and 11. I wonder for the bootloader, is it going to use grub or are we going to just do our own thing? System deboot? There's a lot of different ways to approach that. Kind of curious to see what they do. Contains information containing the LFS experience behind the book. After the steps in the chapter have been implemented, the computer is ready to boot into the new LFS system. This process in a nutshell. Great. Perfect. That's how we build it. What's new? Changelog, resources, help? Don't care. Chapter 2, we begin. Introduction. In this chapter, yeah, okay. LFS, blah, blah, blah. We already went over. It's going to download. Oh my God, it's going to download XZ. No. It's been patched. To see whether to host system and all appropriate versions, the ability to compile, run the following commands. Should just do that. Let's put a whole new test environment together, I think is the best way to do this. Let's shut down old Windows here. We're going to create a new one. Yeah, the new Qualcomm chips look amazing, by the way. I'd love to build an ARM-based system using the new Snapdragon. They're supposed to be close to being on par with Apple. The M-series chips. Is this, come on. All right, here we go. Now we'll create our test environment. I'm going to use Arch for this one, just because I love me some Arch. Just an easy walk in the park of a system. You know what? It's been a little bit since I downloaded. Let's get a fresh version of Arch. We can show on stream how fast we can install Arch too. It'll be the last time you're impressed today, though. There will be nothing else that happens that you're gonna be like, oh, that Titus fellow knows his stuff. After this, it's just gonna be all downhill. 501. Can't you LFS from WSL? Maybe. I don't know on that. Specifically, you're not going to have hardware. Like WSL is kind of weird because it locks off parts of your hardware. So I would say maybe, but probably not. I think you actually need a full either live CD or like if you probably boot into Ubuntu, live CD would probably be okay. I like to actually be booted into an actual Linux system though. So that's why I like Arch. It's just so darn easy. Like, Arch gets a bad rap. Why is this in light mode? That's kind of strange. Anyways, it's kind of odd. Anywho. Huh. Yeah, well, that looks good. Anywho. Let's keep going. All right, we're going to go images, refresh. We should see Arch. I think it's lowercase a. Arch Linux 5.1. Choose. We go forward. generic Linux. We're going to give it, what are you guys thinking? 8? Nah, we need 16 CPU cores. Let's go ahead and give it 10 gigs of RAM. Ooh, 25 gigs should be sufficient. Nah, yeah, 25 is fine. But I'm going to manage this. Let's go default, Titus VMs. I'm going to create Arch server. Let's make this, actually, let's make this 50. Just because I know sometimes I'm always like, I want a little bit more. Let's go forward. We'll customize this selection. Arch server. We're just going to use this to build LFS. All right, so now we have that. Let's go to our hosts. We're going to manually set the topology. Just something I like to do anytime you're going to do any virtualization. We're going to go 8 cores, 2 threads. Apply. Everything else looks pretty sufficient here. That should be fine. And let's boot. Actually, let's see. All right, Arch install. Yeah, Qt theme issue there. It was kind of interesting. I'll broach that another day. I'm just like, let's scale this up a little bit. All right, old Arch. Oh, did you guys see VMware Workstation Pro? For those Windows users out want to do this, I'd highly recommend downloading VMware Workstation Pro. It's free now for personal use. I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, let's set font. We're going to go TUR V28B. All right, yeah, nice and big. And let's use the old Arch Titus project to just get this done quickly. If you're unfamiliar with Arch Titus, it was something I did on GitHub. And it should be curl-l. Couldn't remember the command. It's been slow. It's been a minute. Been a while. All right, let's, I don't know. Let's go curl. Okay, curl is there. I was like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but -l and then, oh no, it's bash and then into, okay, yep, my bad. And the reason for this is just to set up the host environment and stuff. So here comes our Arch install, set our timer. It'll be done in 2 minutes. Here we go. And this is going to be a server install. Yes. We're going to do ext4 on this. Chicago and US. All right, installing Arch. How long do you think it'll take, chat? Oh, is it just a 30 day? Oh, okay. I think you have to still register with them, but I believe it was free last time I checked. So we're just setting up the mirrors now in Arch. See if this project still works. I haven't used it in a minute. But the whole reason I made the project, or kind of morphed it into what it is today, is specifically just to install Arch as fast as possible. You think 2.048 minutes? I guess we'll find out here. I think we'll get it in under 2 minutes. I know that sounds crazy. Like people are like, I installed Arch in under 30 minutes. And then I'm over here going, I did it in 120 seconds. It's how nerds flex, right? How fast you can install Arch. Can anything break in Arch Titus? Maybe. There might be some updates or changes to ISO that could break it. But I haven't updated in probably a year or two. Probably 2 years, actually. Yeah, I like to still use it every now and again if I need like a test environment that's just Linux based, because it's the fastest install of any Linux distro, because there's just not much to it, which is great. I think I can remember if I grabbed yay or not during this. I think I did. Yeah. If you got a slow download speed, it's gonna definitely take a little bit. Is it over 120 seconds now? We missed the time cutoff. It's not going to be a fast one. I guess I should have cached the servers for the download. If we could get the download speeds around probably over 1 gig, we should be able to do it in 2 minutes. All right, we did it in 60. This is 2 minutes and 49 seconds. So not too bad. Cool. Arch Linux, yes. Alrighty. So we got our part. Oh, let's just go set font. And so now we are on live hardware. Arch is installed. Oops. Set font. Oh, I don't have Pacman. 1 second. Let's go sudo pacman syu. Yeah, I threw like grub customization and just like some things I like in every install. So we were under 3 minutes. I said 2 minutes. It was still 2 minutes and 40 seconds. No big deal. Oh, let's go. Pseudo Pac-Man. Let's get Terminus fonts. Terminus font? Yeah, Terminus font. All right, there we go. Now we can do it. All right, now we got our there. Was it Paru? Was Ye in here? No, Ye wasn't. Never mind, I didn't even grab the AUR. Although, oh, fast fetch is in the standard repos. It's just mandatory after every install that we do. We do some type of thing. Also, let's sudo Pac-Man QEMU agent. Actually, can't remember the exact. QEMU. What was it? I can't recall. Was it Spice VD agent? I was just thinking to make it go a little faster. There is a agent specifically for Pac-Man. Let me see. Let's just come on over to our main install. All right. QEMU agent arch. Oh, QEMU guest agent is the package. Okay. Oh, what? Nope. All right. There we go. Let's go SQEMU guest agent. We're just doing this so we can, since it's a virtualized instance, some people are like, why is it so slow or whatever it is when it comes to Linux or anything you're virtualizing. Just make sure you actually have the proper proper agent loaded. So a good way to check if you're unsure, system CTL status, I think QEMU. Can't remember. Yeah, that's it. Just make sure that that is loaded and active, because then you're going to get a full performance of QEMU. Okay, so now we have this set up. We're ready to, we have a whole environment. We might do like dev tools or something like that, but I think this is a good starting spot. Now, let's come into our host system. Let's go version check, or actually, how does it want to start off? So these are the requirements. Bash, binutils, GCC. Let's see. I bet someone's already done this. LFS requirements arch. See if someone already has all of those packages bundled up in a dependency. I don't think we can copy and paste anyways, but oh heck, I think I might actually just do this. You know what we're gonna do? I hate switching back and out of this system. Let's just build something really quick here, just so we can jump around. We have get clone. I'm just gonna grab my DWM. All right, and for this one, all right, we need xlib. I thought I had like the dependencies in a README file. I didn't. Okay, well, yeah, we'll need xorg. It'll grab that though. I'm just getting a README file that I can read a little bit better. Okay, more. I thought I listed this, but apparently I did not. All right, good to know. Let's put in. Yeah, I love me some xorg. It's just long live it, man. As long as I can. This reminds me, I need to update my DWM project to grab all the dependencies. Let's go. Search. What was the search command? Why am I drawing a blank on that? Sync. Is it? Oh, it's query. I don't know why I forgot that. Xlib. Oh, S. Oh, okay. I did. That's what I thought. I was like, man, I know it's close. I just can't remember the freaking name. It's drawing a blank. Xlib should be in here. Note to self. Install and figure out the dependencies of DWM so I can make this easier on myself. libx11, thank you. Thank you, chat. All right. Now then it's XFT. I think there's still like Xenorama as well. Yeah. Yeah, libx Xenorama. Okay, there it is. Mental note to self. All right. Do that next time. I need to do like a simple setup script for this. Okay, it's working. Let's go this. And we're gonna just grab start X. Um, let's just, I think this, all the dependencies it should grab for this, which should be sufficient. Perfect. Now, all right, start X, no go. All right, well, it's not as simple as I thought it would be, but that's okay. Oh, I'm definitely special. We knew that. In my own way. All right. Let's go start. Actually, I think we can just go Vim. Let's just do DWM. I think that should be fine. Oh, it didn't grab the, it says user bin, no such file or directory. Yeah, we forgot. I didn't grab xorg. Yeah, that should be exec DWM. Did I miss xorg? X doesn't exist. So it should be xorg. Is it just xorg? Jeez. Let's go S xorg. Xorg server. Yes. That's it. Which is, we need xset rate too. Oh, all right. Yeah, just use Arch. Arch is all anyone ever needs. They just don't know it yet. Exit root. All right, good enough. Ooh, forgot about one downside to doing the full screen mode. I can't. What was the command to get out? Okay, just need a little bit of that hotkey. Yeah, so it's a VM, and I need to send it a control alt to me, or really I need to send it a TTY command, because I forgot to install a terminal. Kind of need terminal. Yeah, kitty. I just forgot, like the big silly person I am. Anywho, yeah, ST's not even there. We don't have any terminal. All we have is TTY. Twitch gonna hard carry Chris through this LFS install, probably. I'm hoping. Okay. Let's come on. Should be right in here. There it is. There we go. So let's go sudo pacman s kitty. What else should we grab? Let's just grab Firefox and Rofi. Let's grab that too. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Control Alt G. Let's see, Control Alt G. Doesn't release, but that's okay. It's hard to do it. Like, full screen mode really does a good job of capturing everything, so I don't mind it. So now that we've got those, we should be able to come back into, is it F1? Yeah. So from here, perfect. And then we should have our terminal, which if you go Shift plus, I want to say. Oh, no. There we go. Control plus plus. So we have that, and I just want to be able to, well, oh, there we go. All right, so 1's going to be here. 2's going to be there, and I think we can go Firefox. And I'm just setting up just a really base environment for Linux from scratch. All right, now we got that, and we just go read online. Let's go download as well. Current development, but we want stable. Download the stable book and vary through the stable directory. Okay. So it comes in like the PDF version. Oh, really? Let's see. All right. Ooh, I kind of like this better. So now we can just flip back and forth. So we have all of this that needs to be set up and installed. I think most of that should be there by default. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Bash, bin utils, bison. Let's just make sure. Bash. Well, obviously we're in bash. Bin utils, bison. So yeah, all these are in. I figured it would be there. I think all this would be there. Make, I've already done. Find utils. All this should be essentially there. You better have luck with the system vinit version, Chris, personally. Wow, okay. Well, let's see, Benji. I'm really good with systemd. Famous last words. To check if your system has all the appropriate versions and ability to compile, run the following commands. Check version check. Now, there should be a repo or something we're cloning, right? Is there a repo or anything we're cloning to get to where we need? Where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you at? It's just what's new, change log, resources. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, we already went through the stages. You only download the tarballs for the programs. Okay, good. All right, there's that. Creating a new partition. Well then. All right, to see whether or not the host system has the appropriate versions, run the following. Okay, this version check. I wish this was a, See, since it's a PDF, it's not going to actually grab the whole thing, is it? Maybe. No. I guess we can just kind of hope and pray. Well, no. Okay, we almost got it. All right, there we go. Might be enough. That's not. I guess it wanted to feed it directly. I didn't need to do that. Okay, it grabbed a little much anyways. Let's go probably like, there we go. All right, let's check our version. Everything looks good. Command not found. Line 28 and 29 need to look at. Everything looks good here. What was line 28? Oh, those were page numbers. Okay. So if you go version check again, everything looks good. Beautiful. I copied the page numbers. All right. Building LFS in stages. Can be built in one session. Chapter 1-4, blah, blah, blah. Run command. Chapters 5 through 6. Mounting. Chapter 7, blah. All right. I'll be right back. We're going to create a new partition, and it begins. 1 second. I got to get a drink. Well, if everything goes well here, we will just switch it out. Should be fine. All right. Good Lord. Ads galore, huh? Can we, does that, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. This page is protected by browser. What? Control Shift A. Can we not bypass that? Cannot. PDFs are protected from dark mode? All right, 1 second. Let's back out. 1 second. Okay. All right. Chapter 2. You know, like a true Linux nerd. Let's go into chapter 2. Oh, actually, I think we can do this through HTML. Okay, we're good. I think we can just add that, right? All right, it should be like an index. Okay. Watch this. Oh, come on. Oh, I thought I was being fancy. That's hilarious. You only get dark mode around the... Really? Okay, see? Off, on. No way. Ah, I'm sorry, chat. Outplayed. Wait, Control Shift I? All right. Well, you think it'd be in here, but you'd be wrong. You're gonna just have to deal. Sorry. This is postponing LFS. We want to get to the meat and potatoes. It's fine. Sorry. You're just gonna deal. All right. Creating the new partition. Like most other operating system, LFS is usually installed on the dedicated partition. The recommended approach is building an LFS system to use an available empty partition, or if you have enough unpartitioned space, create one. Okay. Because there's always enough random access. Well, if we're gonna just do a whole new partition, the grub BIOS, okay. So we probably should just situate another one on there. Yeah, we can just add another vdisk. So what this looks like, so you have creating a file system on the partition, blah, blah, blah. So let's do that. Let's just create another vdisk and we'll just go power off. We'll go information. And what we're going to do here is just add hardware. Let's go storage. I'm not going to give this very much though. Oh, why am I not seeing storage is the top. I was like, where is this? It's here. All right. And we're going to add a volume, LFS. We're only going to do 20. Perfect. Choose volume. Okay. Finish. Let's open that guy back up. And now we have this. So we only have boot partition. Let's rename. Can we rename it? I mean, we could specify it here, but it's fine. It's just disk 2's LFS. So if we look at boot partition, disk 2's LFS, disk 1's Arch. So let's boot back into our system. And alrighty. All right. And then Firefox. Perfect. All right. Now we have that. So if we look at our LSBLK, we should have VDB. And what we're going to do is just to make FS. I think we might need to do file system and everything first. So probably like CFS. So we're going to go sudo cfdisk dev vdb. All right. It's going to be GPT because that's just, you're going to always do that. Nobody uses DOS or Legacy anymore. All right. First partition size. Let's go 1 gig. All right. And the type for that's going to be an EFI. I believe that should do her. And then the next one, 19 gig. Let's go type. Linux file system is fine. Okay. So now we've got those two things. Let's write that out. Why not CG disk? I don't know. I like CF disk a little better. What are y'all thinking, chat? Okay. So now if we go LSBLK, we see the 2 new drives, right? Nothing's too crazy about this yet. Now we just do ext4 and vdb2. All right, so now we have the ext4, and then we also need to do the boot. Does it not say boot in here? I guess we're going to do boot later. All right, well, let's not get it too ahead of ourselves. Although it should probably tell you. Did it not say? I guess they just assume you already know that. Make a swap partition. I'm not big on swap partitions, to be honest. I did a bunch of testing to see the speed difference between a make file and a make swap partition. And everyone made it out seem to be like swap partitions would be so much faster than swap files. It's just not the case. Swap files are fine. I didn't see any performance degradation between swap partitions and files. Very minor, if any. All right, throughout this book, the environment variable LFS will be used several times. You will ensure that this variable is always defined throughout the LFS build process. It should be set as the name of the directory where you will be building the LFS system. We will be using mount in LFS for an example, but you may choose the directory if you want. If you're building LFS on a separate partition, this partition is the direct mount point. Choose the partition as following. I'm just going to make MNT. I guess we can export LFS. It's fine though. Sure, we'll just mirror it just in case we get in trouble and I end up copy pasta on something. Yeah, the make fat. They didn't tell us to do that, but yes, it would look like this and VDB. VDB1. Make FS fat. Maybe I didn't have make FS .fat. We might need to actually install tools. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, that should work. Okay, there you go. Wait, you can't do UEFI? It appears LFS you can't do UEFI. Are you for real? You can't do even UEFI with LFS? What the hell's the point? Are you sure? That doesn't sound right. It appears LFS you can't do UEFI. It's in beyond LFS. So I guess we got to go beyond okay. Well, it doesn't make any sense to do LFS if... Okay. All right, we're switching gears here, guys. We're going to beyond LFS. We haven't even done anything, so very easy. All right, beyond LFS. What's the difference between the two? Okay. Oh, okay, so we got to do LFS and then beyond LFS. Okay. Never mind then. We're still doing LFS. All right. Let's go Linux from scratch. You know what? We're going to go back to the book. I like the book with the bookmarks. Since it's already white, might as well. All right. Root partition, grub partition. Yep. Convenience partition. Okay, that's crazy. Boot, sure. Temp file. Create the file system on the partition. We do that. Set the LFS variable. Okay. Then we mount it. Do we really need to use this? I don't really want to use LFS. It's fine though. All right. So we've got our partitions. Let's mount. I'm just going to do it to MNT. I don't see a point in doing a subdirectory in MNT. So we're going to go dev VDB 2 to MNT. Let's just go into here. Tired of writing sudo. Always run as root. All right, VDB 2 to MNT. Oops, no, not MNT boot. Okay, VDB2 to MNT is fine. Then make directory MNT boot. Then mount dev VDB1 to MNT boot. So now if we do LSBOK, it's mounted 3 times. How the hell is that even possible? What is happening? Okay. Odd. I've never seen that before. Anywho. Now that looks right. All right. Let's export LFS equal to MNT. So now you have your LFS parameter. Everything's gravy. Moving on with the world. Let's do that. So we have the mount of all the LFS stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Great. It does want to do home. So yeah, it wants a home folder as well. We're not going to do that. Because I really don't care about having a separate home folder with LFS. All right, the above assuming you do not restart your computer throughout the process. Once you do, FS tab will break all these. Yes. If you're using a swap partition, ensure that is enabled by using swap on. We're not. All right, packages and patches, introduction. This chapter includes a list of packages in order to build a basic Linux system. All right, so now we grab the sources of LFS. So we'll grab this guy right here and paste it into here. Then make this directory writable and sticky. Sticky means even if multiple users have write permissions in the directory, only the owner of the file can delete it in there. So nice. Here we go. Man. So there's that. We've created the sources, which we should start building soon, right? There are several ways to obtain all the necessary packages and patches to build LFS. The files can be downloaded individually as described in the next 2 sections. For stable versions of this book, a tarball of all needed files can be downloaded from one of the mirror sites. Let's do that. The files can be downloaded using wget. All right, great. I like it so far. Let's come on over here. North America. Oh, File Planet. You guys remember File Planet? That's cool. Anywho, let's grab this LFS packages. We are on version 12.1. Here is all the packages. So we got to download each one individually. Let's just grab this W list. What do we got here? Ah, perfect. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to just use wget list and then just grab all of them in one fell swoop. Is I'm not about to just sit here and download all this crap. So wget list. Whatever. Flag, blah, blah, blah. Is there a correct way to download each files? Blah, blah, blah. How do we do a wget list thing? Quick man wget, input file, reads URL. So we should be able to do that. So if we do, we have the wget list. Let's remove lsbook. Now let's wget with an input file of wget list. Perfect. And then we'll just grab all of it. I was like, I'm not sitting here downloading all this. That's not fun. Okay. Well, I was actually unaware of the input command for wget, so that was actually news to me. So well, right now we're just downloading all the tar files for wget. Oh, yeah. Well, that's okay. We can move it all. It's not that big a deal. Probably should have just gone directly to sources and then just grabbed it all right there. But that's okay. Like I said, it'd be fine. So that's that guy. So this is everything we're downloading. All right. So we get all those, download all the packages using wget list systemd command as an input of the wget command you can use. Oh, okay. Oh, are we downloading the wrong files? Oh, we are. So this, if we look, 1 second, I think we're downloading the wrong thing. I don't think these are actually systemd. Oh no, it is. We're fine. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I was like, I'm not seeing systemd, but yeah, they're here. Never mind. I just saw wget systemd. I was like, oh no. And then we should have done the directory prefix. So honestly, we could have just grabbed this whole thing and put it in there. I just was the wget list systemd as an input command. It's interesting. I just want to see if there was another. It's kind of wild to have it all the way back to 6, but if you go down to wget, it's just wget-list, so it's just grabbing everything. Okay. I was like, hey, if I'm missing a wget list file here or using the wrong one would be terrible. Does anybody ever do MD5 checks to see if everything's valid? Yeah. Let's build 6.7.4. Holy smokes, that would be a disaster, right? Yeah, nobody ever does MD5. It's cool that it exists, but does anyone do it? No. All right, so then we got chroot, take ownership of it, all the packages. What are we doing with that? So read the security advisory and packages to figure out if the newer package is available, vulnerabilities, blah, 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 more packages. We're just going to do everything. Needed packages. Okay, what's the patches, I wonder? Needed patches. In addition to the packages, several patches are also required. These patches correct any mistakes in the packages that should be fixed by the maintainer. Patches also make small modifications to make the packages easier to work with. The following patches are needed to build an LFS system. So we'll have to use probably like the patch command. Acquire any additional patches to suit your system needs. So what does that look like? Final preparations. In this chapter, do final ones. So we have all that. Do a listing. You can see all of our stuff here. So everything but 12.1 should be grabbed. So I think we can just move star, and then we're just going to go mount sources. And then if we do it listing, I'll toss the manual over there too. Whatever. MNT sources. All right, so this is our sources. All right, create a thing, add an unprivileged user, create a build environment for that user. All right, creating a limited directory layout for the LFS system. In this section, we begin populating the LFS file system with pieces that constitute a final Linux system. Final step in creating a limited directory hierarchy. So the program's compiled in chapter 6, as well as libc and stdc++ can be installed at the final location. Create the required directory layout by issuing the following commands as root. So we're manually creating like etc var bin lib sbin. That's cool. All right, and then we're doing a for loop. Can you do for loops in bash like this? That's kind of crazy. Huh. This is kind of wild right here. Yes, okay. Wow. I don't think I've ever done that in bash. That's neat. So this made symlinks to mnt bin to usr bin. And was that right? Did we just make a bunch of... Oh no. I think we're okay actually. Bin, usr bin. Okay. Just making sure it did the correct thing there. It did. All right, great. Now we make the tools directory. We're going to be compiling, we'll be compiled with a cross compiler. All right, the cross compiler is installed on a special directory and is separated from other programs, still acting as root, create the directory. All righty. So far, it's just been like copy, paste, copy, paste. Nothing too complicated. Adding an LFS user. I wonder why we're doing like a group add in our Arch instance. It's kind of wild, but okay. I do keep doing Control-C. Control-Shift-C. Old habits die hard. All right, what this line means. All right, makes bash the default shell. Adds an option for the user LFS in the group LFS. Prevents copying. All right. Name of the new user. All right, you want to log in as LFS. Switch to LFS. All right. I think actually we might change that up a little bit now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, no, I double checked. It's fine. All right, whatever. Let's go. All right, grant FLS full user access to all the directories. It's kind of wild that it uses this these little nested loops. It's neat. And then we're just switching over to LFS user. All right. And then we set up the environment. The new instance of the shell is a non-login shell, which does not read, write, or execute the contents of etc profile or bash files, but rather reads and executes the bashrc file instead. Create a bashrc. All right. I have my own bashrc we could probably do later, but whatever. For now, let's just get it going. Well, Rando, whenever you do any of my Windows Toolbox stuff, it just grabs the existing script. So if I update it today, you get the latest. So it just runs the script. It's not actually a program. I think a lot of people forget that the Windows Toolbox was never intended to be really a program. It was meant to be just a script. So everything you see is actually just a script that runs, and then as soon as you close it, it just closes the script. And the executable is just a wrapped PowerShell script executable container. So whenever you run it, that's all it's doing. It's not actually installing a program or doing anything using that system or that program itself. It just runs in memory, and then as soon as you exit it, clears it out. Oh, no, it's all good, Random. Thanks, man. Appreciate the support. Will linutil be also the same? Yeah, I think we'll have something to that extent. I might do a bash, probably a bash script, much like how I kind of installed Arch Titus here, or God bless, I gotta do. I used Arch Linux on this install, right? For this test environment for Linux from scratch. That was a bash script. And that bash script was just basically just pulled through the internet, much like I did like with Windows utility. I did it for this install, and they just grabbed that script, ran it all, and then I just had a whole bunch of options that I already pre-configured for server. And that's how we were able to get like DWM up in like no time flat. It just was like, bam, there it is, done. And I think we installed it in like 2 minutes and 49 seconds, I think was the total time. And again, that was all just because it was a bash script sitting on GitHub. And I love that. I love that just for a time saver. So you don't have to actually go download, clone, do all that business. You can just grab it and run it. And you can actually do that with things that aren't bash scripts too. Like obviously I've shown bash scripting and PowerShell scripting, but you can do it with full-blown executables. You don't necessarily have to do it as a script at all. There's a lot of things that people just don't usually do online, mainly because they want money. And if you want money, it's a terrible system to have it just so exposed like that, because what ends up happening is people just can grab it at will on any system without really authenticating or doing anything and run it. Which, I mean, the only other thing really that exists that works this way is a virus. A virus works exactly that same way. They want it spread as wide as possible and as easy as access as possible to get the most infections. That's pretty much how my toolbox works too. It's just a little script that can just be run from anywhere. And it's kind of cool. But you could also do that with like a Rust program. I don't see a reason why you couldn't just curl and run that directly. It would still download the binary locally, and there's different ways I'm thinking in my head to do so the end user wouldn't necessarily install it per se, but it would still download the binary to at least a temp folder to run in place. So it'd be a little bit more overhead than an actual script, but the premise is the same. And man, there's a lot of cool stuff we can do, and a lot of fun. So it doesn't really matter too much, and you can also mix and match. Like let's say we're doing it in Rust, like we started the stream out with Linux util. We can also transition into Bash. We can actually transition into PowerShell in Linux if you wanted. As you know, don't think it's limited by just like one language. It's very much, and businesses work the same way too. Oh, awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it. Ah, man. All right. So we're doing Linux from scratch still. Here we go. where we've got most of everything in, I think. This is just kind of going over the ins and outs of it. The meaning of all these settings in bash RC, I don't care. Like, this is just setting locale or localization. TGT, I don't see that. Like, this, I don't see very often. Now that bash RC, there is something wrong with it. That mount point is actually not valid. Oops. Anything else here? Yeah. All right, we're good. What else we have? LFS TGT, variable not defined, not non-default, but compatible machine description for use of building cross compiler and linker. Okay. And that, and we should be good. I don't see anything else here that could be problematic. Now, important. Several commercial distributions add undocumented instantiation of etc bash.bashrc. Okay. To ensure LFS's user environment is clean, check the presence of etc. If present, move it out of the way. Run as this. Okay. So it's checking to see if that file exists. I don't think it does on Arch, but we can go ahead and do that. I'm just going to put it in this other prompt. Oh, yeah, okay. It actually does exist on Arch. etc bash.bashrc does exist in the etc folder. What's in that folder? Oh, well, let's cat it over here then. Huh. Maybe it needs to be run as root user, maybe? I'm just curious what this is. Okay. It's listed as bash.bashrc. No use. Oh, okay. So if not running interactively, don't do anything. Case of terminal, it changes the prompt around. Interesting. Okay. I'm just clearing that out. I did not realize. Learn something new. For many modern systems with multiple processors or cores, the compilation of time can be reduced by doing a parallel make. We're definitely doing that. Let's see. Going from here, we're going to do 16 cores, I believe. So we'll do a J16. Let's make that. I think we actually have make flags already. Let's just cat make flags. Oops. Echo make flags. Make flag? All right. Well, J16. All right. Well, it's there now. I thought I had that in my script. Apparently, I did not. And we will, to use all logical cores, you can set this in your bash RC. All right. We'll just do that. So if the cores change, it'll be fine. And then we just source it. All right. So now we're in LFS. Oh, no, I have not with the home stick yet. Need to take a look at it. I saved it, though. I started it. What the heck's SBU? Many people would like to know beforehand approximately how long it takes to compile and install each package. Because Linux from scratch can be built on different systems, it's impossible to provide absolute time estimates. The biggest package, GCC, will probably take approximately 5 minutes on the fastest systems, but could take days on slower systems. Instead of providing actual times, the standard build unit measure will be used instead. Okay. So considering a package where compilation time is 4.5 standard build units, this means if your system took 10 minutes to compile and install the first pass of bin utils, it will take approximately 45 minutes to build the example process. Oh, I like how that's done. Staron, thanks for the prime, man. When multiple processors are used this way, the standard build units in the book will vary even more than they normally would. Well, we're using a Xeon, so it'll definitely skew in our favor. If anything, it should build pretty damn fast. KitKat, thanks for the prime. I love it. I love it. All right. So far, Linux from scratch has been treating me pretty good. The documentation's quite good. Haven't seen anything thus far as like, oh my gosh, what the world? You know, knock on wood. Probably shouldn't have said that. About test suites. Most packages provide a test suite. Running a test suite for a newly built package is a good idea because it can provide a sanity check indicating that everything's compiled correctly. A test suite that passes the set checks. Oh my word. What is happening? Casper, you're awesome. Thank you. So we got the test suites coming. Boom. Come on, let's get to the compiling. I want to get going. Here we go. The fun begins. Building LFS, cross toolchain, and temporary tools. So this is where we start to build the binaries. This is where the fun happens. This is where the suffering begins. So far as I've just been having a good time. This has actually been really fun. I'm like, cool. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So this is where it's definitely going to start to diverge a little bit. The next section is a technical introduction to the build process. One presents very important general instructions. Okay. So no just smoothing over here. Yeah. And we also need to do BLFS after LFS so we can actually boot, because we got to have UEFI. I refuse to use legacy. It's 2024. What are we trying to do? Maybe if we're doing like some kind of weird retro experiment and go, hey, Linux from 10 years ago we can run? Sure. But like doing Linux from scratch with a legacy, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, man. All right. Thank you, DeWolf. This is great, though. Like I said, I think it's cool. I mean, and honestly, with me using DWM and everything being built with GCC anyways, this is actually not that far-fetched to being used as a main system. It really wouldn't be hard, in theory. All right, the build process is based on cross-compilation. All right. Cross-compilation involves same concepts and deserve a section on their own. This section may be omitted on a first reading. Coming back later will help you getting a fuller understanding of the process. The build, the host, the target. Yeah, so you're just compiling stuff using the host or on the host for the target. That makes sense. Stage 1, AAB, and then it's ABC. So what those letters mean, let's see, let's call it machine A is the compiler. The fast machine's B with no compiler. Slow machine C. Wait, what the hell? All programs needed by machine C will be compiled using GCC2. On the fast machine B, I guess they're using multiple machines to build different sections of the program or something? Oh, nice. PowerShell KitKat. All right. Check it out, man. Implementation of cross-compiling for LFS. All the cross-compiled packages in this book use an autoconf-based building system. The autoconf-based building system accepts system types in the form of CPU vendor kernels, OS, referred to as a system triplet. Since the vendor field is often irrelevant, autoconf lets you omit it. An astute reader may wonder why a triplet refers to a 4-component name. The kernel field and the OS field begin as a single system field. Such a 3-field form is still valid today for some systems. I know, right? It's just thinking that myself. For example, the x86-64 unknown FreeBSD, but two systems could share the same kernel and still be too different to use the same triplet to describe them. For example, Android running on a mobile phone is completely different from Ubuntu running on an ARM64 server. Man, I had no idea. Even though they had both running the same type of CPU, ARM64, and using the same kernel Linux. Wow. Without an emulation layer, you cannot run an executable for a server on a mobile phone or vice versa, so the system field can be divided into fields and OS fields to design the systems unambiguously. In our example, the Android system is designed in Arch64 unknown Linux Android, and the Ubuntu system is designated Arch64 unknown Linux GPU. The word triplet remains embedded in a lexicon. A simple way to determine the system triplet is to run the config.guess script that comes with the sources and for many packages. Unpack the binary sources, run the script, config.guess, and note the output. For example, a 32-bit Intel processor will output i686 PC Linux GNU. On a 64-bit system, it'll be x86_64 PC Linux GNU. On Linux systems, it's even simpler. GCC dump machine command will give you a similar information. You should be aware of the name of the platform's dynamic linker. often referred to as a dynamic loader. Not to be confused with the standard linker LD as part of bin utils. Are they just trying to confuse people doing all this shit? Like, there's so much more simplification of ways of describing this. It's just so, like, I feel like that YouTube video right now where he's, like, going off on all this techno babble. That's what this is. Like, okay, this could be explained so much easier, but it sounds a lot cooler when I'm reading it like this. So I appreciate it. All right. The dynamic linker provided by the package glibc finds and loads the shared libraries needed by the program and prepares the program to run and then runs it. The name of the dynamic linker is for 32-bit Intel machines, ldlinux.so.2. It's ldlinux x86 64so2. On 64-bit systems, the surefire way to determine the name of the dynamic linker is to inspect the random binary from the host system that is running. readelf-l name of binary grep interpreter and note the output. The authoritative reference covering all platforms is in the shlib versions file in the root of glibc source tree. All right. Here we go. We need to. Oh, I don't have old Jippity over here. Old Jippity. Too long didn't read. Triplet is a processor platform kernel source tree. Yeah. All right. In order to fake a cross compilation in LFS, the name of the host triplet is slightly adjusted to be by changing the vendor field in LFS TGT variables, so it says LFS. We also use the with sysroot option when building the crosslinker and cross compiler to tell them where to find the needed host files. This ensures that none of the other programs built in Chapter 6 can link to libraries on the build machine. That's quite important. On 2 stages are mandatory plus 1 more for a test. So build machine PC, host PC, target LFS. Got it. Stage 1, 2, 3, and then stage 3 is LFS. So it goes in stages. So you have the build machine. So it goes with this right here. You build it. Then I think this is the CH root phase really in stage 2. And then stage 3, we actually boot into it. Although we're going to have to do the beyond LFS because there's no UEFI support in standard LFS. Just copy paste the commands at this point. True. I mean, it's well documented. It's the whole purpose of a lot of LFS is to have a deeper understanding on how Linux is done. So I get it. I make fun of it, but I get it. And you're definitely going here. Let's see. All right. This is not the end of the story. Not even close. The C language is not merely a compiler. It defines a standard library in the book. The GNU C library, named glibc. Did I say giblib? glibc is used in their alternative, muscle. That's how it's pronounced. The library must be compiled for the LFS machine. That is, using a cross compiler, CC1. But the compiler itself uses an internal library providing complex subroutines for functions not available in the simpler instruction set. The internal library is named libgcc, and it must be linked to the glibc library to be fully functional. Furthermore, the standard library for GC++ must also be linked to glibc. The solution to this chicken and egg problem is first to build a degraded C11 based glibc, lacking some functionalities such as threads, exception handling, and then build glibc using the degraded compiler. glibc itself is not degraded. It also to build libstd C++. The last library will lack some of the functionality of libgcc. Did you get all that? All right. I got it. I was just checking to see if you got it. All right. Let's move on. The upshot of the preceding paragraph is that C+ or CC1 is unable to build in the fully functional libcd, blah, 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 blah. All right, continuing on. All right. Blah, 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 blah. I know, should have read more. I'm getting bored, so we're going to skip through this. All right, bin utils. This is probably important. Bin utils is installed and first used as the configure command in both GCC and glibc. Perform various feature functions in assembly and linker determine the okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, bin utils installs the assembler and linker to two locations, tools bin and also the TGT bin. The tools in one location is hard linked to the other. Important factor is the linker of its library and search order. Detailed information obtained by LD bypassing the verbose flag. For example, TGT, LD, verbose, grep search, illustrate the current search pass in that order. Okay. The next patch is installed as GCC. Man, they really just break it all down for you. All right. Respect. This is important for the reasons mentioned above. It demonstrates the GCC configure script does not search the path directories and find which tools to use. However, during the actual operation of GCC itself, the same search paths are not necessarily used. To find out the standard linker GCC, you will run LFS TGT GCC -parent name equals ID. Again, remove the LFS TGT prefix. It's coming back later. All right. Damn, I would love a drink right now. I really don't drink anymore, but man, I would really just kill for just big old beer, just wine or hard alcohol or pretty much anything. Yeah, make this so much better. Anyways, let's keep going. All right, sanitize the Linux API headers. Great. Next comes glibc, and this talks about probably all the linking and stuff from before. Yep. As mentioned above, standard C++ library is compiled next. Cool. Native LFS compilers installed. First, the bin utils pass2 is built, and then other stuff, and then temporary installs. All right. Like it. Okay. When are you going to release reading the man pages as an audiobook? SK, I think this is going to be uploaded to YouTube here in about 4 days. So 4 days from now. Content. That's what this is. I think that's what somebody said in chat earlier. All right. Caution. During the development cycle of LFS, the instructions in this book have often modified to adapt a package update and take advantage of new features from updated packages. Mixing up the instructions of different versions of LFS book can cause subtle breakages. The kind of issue is generally a result of reusing the sum script created prior to a prior LFS release. Such a reuse is strongly discouraged. If you are reusing scripts for a prior LFS release for any reason, you need to be very careful to update the scripts to match current version of the LFS book standards. All right, here are a few things you should know about building each package. Several packages are patched before compilation. Good to know. During the compilation of most packages, some warnings will scroll by the screen, so you're going to be seeing warn a ton. All right, use of C is probably egregious and everywhere. So if you don't like seeing C compiled, well, this isn't for you. Check one last time that the LFS environment variable is set up properly. Just checked. It's set up. Now, finally, two important items must be emphasized. The build instructions assume the host system requirements and calling symbolic links have been set properly. Bash is the shell to use. It's the best shell. SH is the symbolic link to bash. Must be set up. Awk is the symbolic link to gawk. And yak is the symbolic link to bison, or a small script that executes bison. Here's a synopsis of the build process. Place all sources and patches in a directory that will be accessible from the chroot environment. Done. Change to the sources directory. Where the hell did I put the sources directory again? Okay. We're in the sources directory. Okay. For each package, using the tar program, extract the package to be built. In Chapter 5 and 6, ensure you're using LFS when extracting the package. Make sure we switch user to LFS. Really important. All right. Do not use any method except the tar command to extract the source code. Notably, using cp-r command to copy the source code tree elsewhere can destroy links and timestamps in the source tree and cause the build to fail. So don't use the cp command. Change the directory created when the package was extracted. Follow instructions for building the package. Change back to the sources directory when the build is complete. Delete the extracted source directory unless instructed otherwise. Finally, are we getting to some compilation? I thought the compile time would be the thing we fall asleep to, but I was wrong. I'm falling asleep reading this thing. All right, Chapter 5. Damn, we're already to Chapter 5. Rock on. This chapter shows you how to build. Yeah, we got it. Let's build. Come on, build time. The real stuff happens now. It's 1 SBU, 663 megabytes required disk space. It's time to do this. We're going to make the directory. One quick thing, though. I thought I was going to like that, but it turns out I really don't. So we're going to actually change that just a hair. 1 second. I'm sorry. We just got to fix it. I thought I was going to like it, but I was like, oh God, I'm about to do a bunch of copy paste and that's not going to be cool. All right. Now, yeah, that's going to be great. All right, great. All right. So now we got the build directory and we're in the build directory. You can see we're in sources build. This is where the fun happens. Now we prepare the bin utils for compilation. Compile. Shit. That was a big build up for that. Okay. Really? Do we need to build it as LFS? Oh, yeah. You see nothing. Why doesn't sources show up here? Oh, yeah, okay. We don't even have sudo installed. Never mind. 1 second. A little bit of a false start, but that's okay. We're first mess up, but that's okay. We are almost there. All right. Yes. Extract. Oh, we got to extract tar files. Okay. Okay, so important to bin tools. So bin tools is what we do first. Okay. Never mind. It's okay. We're just doing practice. Just practicing. It's just practice. All right, let's just extract some bin tools. Yeah. So this is the bin tools. Make directory build. CD build. Yep. All right. Let's just do that. Easy. Okay. Great. Done. So now we prepare the bin tools. Great. So the preparation tells the configure school to install this in the tools directory. Cross compilation and all the other stuff we just read. It's super important. Now we just do make install. Okay. So we just do make. So there we go. Quick little spin up of the make. Now, did we set the parameter when we switch to LFS or are we using single thread? Because I don't hear my system ramping up. That makes me think we're using single thread. Okay. Let's just make sure. Make flags. Yeah, no. We're using 16. Man, we should have gave it more cores. Anyways, make install. All right, so now we've installed. Great. So we've done build bin utils. Done. Next, GCC. So for GCC, let's come back. All right. Back. Remove our bin utils. Oh, man. Can't. Okay, great. So bin utils done. Oh, yes, RF. I'll make sure I do RF on the next one. I know, I should have done 32. All right, GCC's next. We are doing, this is only 3.8 SBU, standard bill units. 4.1 gigs this time around. So this one's going to take a little bit longer. So we're going to do MPRFS, GMP, and MPC. There are frequent misunderstandings about this chapter. The procedures are the same as any other chapter, as explained here. First, extract GCC as a tarball and sources directory, then change to the directory created. Only then should you proceed with the instructions below. All right. So now, just VCF. Wait, no. VXF. XVF. My mind's going, guys. It's going. Ah. All right, now we get GCC. Come back to here. Grab this guy. Copy it. And now, extract it all. Perfect. Now, set the default directory for the 64-bit libraries to lib. All right, gravy. Let's do that. Done. Next, make the GCC documentation recommendations during the build directory. All right. Done. We're in the build directory. Now, prepare GCC for compilation. Anything here? Anything here? Nope. Everything looks good. All right. Bam. Do a quick little configure. Perfect. All right. Now just to make and install. Nice. Yeah, I should have gave it more cores. This would have been great if we didn't have the cores. I would have been able to really stretch this Xeon system. But alas, here we go. No. I mean, 16 is going to be slow for most residential boxes. Xeon will probably perform double or triple, especially since this is really what this processor's meant to do. It's meant to just compile. So this is the best case scenario. Now, this is still virtualized. If we were using my main host and we were doing it raw, it would be a lot faster. Probably about triple the speed. So we could definitely beat some speed runs with LFS. Maybe we do a speed run of LFS on my main system after. Now that I kind of get the gist of it, it's really not too bad. We could time make, probably, right now we're switched as the LFS user. So there are some things about LFS, but usually I would, you can do time command takes. Do you game with this system? Yeah, sure do. While that builds. Here. Let's just launch into Steam. Like, most people don't realize when it comes to Steam, see, we're only using 50% of our processor up here, by the way. Yeah, so like, let's say I want to play some Fallout while we're compiling Linux from scratch. Just launch in. Just not Helldivers 2. Yeah. So then we got our game. Performance is okay on Xeon. Xeon's not like a great gaming processor. Like, if you're a hardcore gamer, you're gonna probably want like I would say probably like an AMD 3D. What is those 3DX processors from AMD? Those are pretty solid. But like, for the stuff I do, I really don't care. Like, this is pretty good. Do we have any free? One second, I need to get my free stuff for the day. Yeah, get this. Where is the free? What are they giving away today? Gotta get my freebies. Ah, free scrap gift. Oh, that's a good one. Perfect. All right. And then if I wanted to jump into game. How are we doing on our... Ah, cool. Let's go make install. I mean, GCC's going pretty quick. Look at that. Pay no attention to the artifacting. All right, let's, so we got GCC. All right, CD minus mana, da 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 da. The build of GC has installed a couple internal system headers. Normally one of them is linux.h. Okay. Note the command below shows an example of a nested command substitution using backticks. I don't think we really need to do that. Yeah, so this is the game itself. So let's see. I was just playing this the other night, actually. And let's go down. What, is somebody shooting me? Oh. Man, the FPS is not great. Gotta say, running all this virtualization and then playing a game, not a good idea. All right. Anywho, that was the game. You can play games. Just maybe not run an entire VM on the other side. All right, keep going. I think GCC is fine though. Just double checking. The command below shows an example of a nested command substitution using two methods, back quotes and $sign parentheses construct. It could be rewritten and using the same method with both substitutions, but shown to demonstrate this is this. Generally, the $sign parentheses method is preferred. So I don't want to just blindly copy this, but so it's just copying or taking that out and pushing it over there. Okay. Let's do that. Perfect. Next up, Linux API headers. Yeah, actually, fun fact, Carson, with Helldivers 2, I think it's something with the Xeon processors and in Protect. So I went ahead and loaded this up on here with pass-through and hidden VM, and Helldivers 2 crashed on me again in Windows. So I think it's something with my processor, and Helldivers 2 just not liking Xeon processors. I was like, oh, damn, okay. So that's apparently a thing. All right, now the Linux kernel needs to expose the API of the C library. Make mr proper. Make sure there are no stale files embedded in the package. Now extract the visible kernel. Okay, so let's grab Linux next. Oh, gotta order some food. The natives are getting restless and texting me. Text her back. Don't want to ignore the wife. That would not be good. Gonna get some pizza. Health food. All right. Bam. Yeah, I needed bare bones Windows for sure. If I wanted to boot into it, I just don't want to destroy my current Windows. I guess I could and do a test. Make mr proper. She said thumbs up to 5 minutes. All right, that's obviously whatever. All right, Linux API, ls Linux. So it's just Linux. So I guess we just extract this. All right, extract the Linux kernel, and then we go make proper, right? Okay. Then we do make headers, find, and copy. So now we're doing the headers. All right. I didn't see you run the make install GCC. Did you run it? I think so. Yeah, it's there. Contents of the API headers, blah, blah, blah. Sound headers, Zen headers, blah, blah, blah. All right, great. We're good to go. Next up, glibc. So glibc is next. I know it said to... I'm tired of deleting all this. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't. I know it said it did. I don't believe it. Nope. Ooh, this one has a patch. Interesting. First, create a symbolic links to the LSV for reference. So we need to apply the patch next. So let's move glibc -f patch into glibc. Oh, I can't move. I can't move files. That's right. Oh, are we going to run out of disk space? God bless, are we? All right, fine. Not glibc, gcc. Okay, just copy. The old one is probably sticky. Okay. Copy should be fine then. So we'll just copy that into glibc. Perfect. Okay. That one took. Thank you, chat. So now we're going to do the patch command. Copy this. Now, I want to say... Okay, yeah, that does work. Okay, hunk succeeded, hunk succeeded. All that looks good. Now we set up the build directory. All right, we're in the build directory. Let's check our config params. And then finally, configure. Get our Linux kernel configured. All right, configuration. During this stage, you will following warning might appear. No, we didn't get that warning. I guess so. We're just lucky. We're just lucky like that. All right, compile the package. Oh, I didn't even need to copy that over. So yeah, that's looking good. And then finally, make destination directory. Are we ready? The Linux kernel's getting compiled. Oh man, this isn't a mess. This is perfectly fine. It's just the way I like it. So beautiful. I probably could go a little bit less on the... Well, I still like the chat seeing what I'm typing in. Now, so if LFS is not properly set, despite recommendations, your building is root, the next command will screw up everything. Good to know. I like how they put that there. So we put make, and now the next command is make install. Here we go. Hold on to your butts. Let's make it happen. Ah, yes. All right, now we've got make install. Fix the hard-coded path to the executable loader in the LDD script. Ah, yes, the old sed. It's going to go through LDD, switch that out for us, and get that done. Perfect. Caution. At this point, it's imperative to stop and check that basic functions, compiling and linking of the new tool are working expected. To perform a sanity check, run the following. All right. All right. Requesting interpreter, lib64, LD, Linux, x86, 64, SO2. Exactly. If everything's working correctly, you will get this, which we did. Perfect. Once all is well, clean up the test file. All is well. All right. And then we come back. And now GCC or glibc is done. So let's remove RF glibc 39. Solid. And now we're to lib std C++ and GCC. Well, this is where we have to take a break, guys. My family will come and devour me if I don't go order food and eat. So, I hope you've enjoyed the first stage of this wonderful experience with Linux from scratch. We're not quite done. We're only to chapter 5.61, but we knew this was going to happen. One does not simply just pick up Linux from scratch and install it in an hour. It's just, that's how things roll. So we will pick up the next one, starting with this chapter, 5.61. I think we might do it later tonight. I kind of want to just kind of get this done. Just to say, we've done Linux from scratch on stream and had a good time with it. I think this is fun. So, you know, TitOS, it's coming your way soon. I like the stage 1 is done. I mean, we're getting close to stage 2. It's amazing. Thank you all. I am a little bit spent for the day, but man, this was a fun stream, whether it was reading from the Rust manual for an hour or two or doing the Linux from scratch. I might chop this up into 2 sections for people to rewatch. I think we'll do the Rust manual section for stage 1 or part 1, and then I'll probably do another one because this ended up being a 4.5 hour stream. I had no idea. I was having so much fun towards the end on Linux from scratch that I didn't realize it went so long. So I'll split this up in 2 parts. First one's going to be the Rust part, and then the second one's going to be Linux from scratch, because I think that has 2 different audiences. And that's just a lot of fun. All right, so I probably, once this one comes out, I usually space them out every other day. I might actually just do every day because this is going to be another stream this weekend to finish up. So later all until part 2. All right, I've been dreading coming back on this stream. I said I'd come back that night so long ago on last Thursday when we did Linux from scratch and started the install. It's haunted my dreams ever since, and here we are, Linux from scratch. I've totally forgotten everything. I checked the VOD just to make sure to see where we were. We're at 5.6 in the build process. We'll continue Linux from scratch today. Whoa. Not looking forward to it, but should be entertaining nonetheless. we'll have to reset up the environment as I had to shut down the virtual machine. All right, we're going to resume the Linux from scratch. I think it's safe to say, based on everything here, it just doesn't matter what we put in this poll. If Linux from scratch is there, people want Linux from scratch. So that's what we're going to do. All right. You are the directors of this stream. Let's echo make flags. Oh, okay. Well, let's go 16. So we got J16 for our make flags. What else we got? Bash RC. Okay, fine. Then I think we still, so we already did this once, but we got to reset up everything. I think there was LFS. We already set up and did the user add and group add. And then we want to switch to LFS, but we also need to set up the LFS variable. So what does that look like? Make directory. We already did that. Already did the tools. So, okay. Linux from scratch. I think, yeah, it's mainly just trolling, you know, on that. I get it. You know, it's fun. It's all good. Easy Z, thanks for the sub, man. New subscriber. All right. Glad to have you with us. Let's go home. Where are our setup? The thing is, you have to build this a specific way, setting the LFS variable. So we have to export this like so, because if we get any of these builds wrong, it's not good. So we have LFS right like that. And then if we do like echo LFS, you'll see it's an M&T. I just chopped off LFS. I didn't think there was really a point doing two subdirectories. We already did this for the mounting of the drives. Now, and we weren't doing a swap either. And then packages. Okay, perfect. All right, let's go full screen. So we have LFS set up. We have that. I felt like there was another thing for the build suite. So I think we were around right here, 5.6. So we did 5.5. Now let's go 5.6. And I think this is where we stopped during this build. So we're on to lib std C++. So if we do it ls, we need lib. Oh man, this is gonna take a minute. It's gonna take a minute. Now look at this. GCC pass 1. Okay. We had to defer its install because we needed to build GCC. We already built GCC. And now we just do this library. But I don't see switch user LFS. Switch user LFS. All right. This is wrong too. I think we got to do a ch root. We're missing root LFS. What was that? Do we... I don't think... No. I don't think we do ch root yet. We're not there. Okay. Chris, would you install for Superlight Web Development Workstation? DE Window Manager, which, thanks for reading. Ezzy, I would probably do a window manager just because that's what I'm really comfortable with these days. And desktop environments are just really big. And there's just so many moving parts to them. So there's a lot more to go wrong. That's why I really like window managers. It's just very minimal and they just work pretty well. And yeah, that's why almost everything I do now is I just like, hey, let me just toss a window manager in here. So then I can just kind of flip around and then I'm good. So that's my thought on that. All right. So yeah, let's just do switch user LFS. I think we can build it just like this. I can't remember when we were doing the setup, but I feel like that was okay. Let me look at all this. So these root and so the thing is we don't have lib C++ here, which is kind of odd. We do have Linux, Force Linux. DWM works pretty well. You break my heart. Hey, it works incredibly well. That's so true. Well, there's nothing to break. It's just one binary file. So that's the nice part. It either builds or it doesn't. So that's what I love about DWM. Even on bare installs like this, it's still nice. All right, so Okay, so GCC, do we have GCC? I think it's the GCC 13.2. Okay, so let's go tar xvf GCC. I guess we didn't build GCC last time. So let's extract GCC and we're back. So we've set up our environment variables. We're going to do just like a CD and make directory build like so. And then we're in the build directory. Then we should be able to go ahead and compile such as this. So we'll just do the check and compile. Oh, I could just do SSH. That's true. Just Linux user. That might be a little bit easier for building this. That's the way to do the build. Just SSH into the environment and then do it. I like that. All right, well, let's finish these instructions. So we got the make, and then we got the make install. So let's do a make. Yeah. I mean, when we built Linux in here, it actually wasn't too bad. It was surprisingly easy. Did not take long to build all this stuff. All right, remove the cross compilation, the libtool archive files because they're harmful for cross compiles. Okay, so we'll remove those. Perfect. All right, now up next. So chapter 5 is done. Now we're on to chapter 6, cross compiling tip array tools. All right, let's RF GCC. Now, before we start chapter 6, I do really like the idea of just doing SSH. Let's exit. Pac-Man. Is it SSHD? What is it on Arch for SSH? I rarely set up SSH on Arch. Tiny SSH. No. Open SSH, that's it. All right, so now we got open SSH going. Let's go with system, CTL, enable, SSH service, -- now. So we'll start that SSH service. Let's go into etc, go SSH. All right, let's vim sshd config. We got our authorized keys. And then we're just going to make this super insecure. Password authentication, yes. System, CTL, restart, SSH. Done. All right. So then let's exit out of this. And can I get the top menu screen? Come on. I need to set up a hotkey for this. I think it's like Control-Alt. It's in here somewhere. It's in here somewhere. Come on. Give me that menu. Any second now. It's gonna happen. All right, what the hell? Come on. All right. We'll just close it. I was like, we'll just kill it. It's fine. So let's just SSH. Let's grab what was the IP. Let's go into our NIC 122. SSH Titus. I think we can actually just root. No, I think it was Titus, right? Yes. Okay. Arch server 122. Okay, cool. MNT. We're at sources. LSB. Okay. All right, perfect. So now thank you for mentioning just SSH in. Just Linux user, I appreciate that. Password auth doesn't make you any less secure than token auth. I mean, it's layering a bit. You want to use both password and token with keys. Frankly, you really shouldn't expose port 22 to the external world anyway, so who does that, right? Change the prompt color in VM. Really? What's the prompt color? What's wrong with my prompt? Why do you have to change the color? Oh, yeah, Richard. If you're looking for that, here, I'll just send it to you. Here you go, Richard. If you want the fast fetch, it's there for the config. Obviously change like the logo and stuff like that. Yeah, you appreciate it, man. Let's see. Anything to avoid switching, doing this. All right, so now we're here. Let's make sure we're mounted everything. Let's go into MNT sources. Do you ever use syntax highlighting in terminal? Yeah, sometimes, Burrito. Just depends. Does Window Util work on Win Server? Peter, I probably wouldn't run it on Windows Server. It probably would work, but Windows Server is a little bit of a different animal and not something I probably would be doing all that with. Specifically, the service optimizations, I could totally see screwing stuff up. Greg, thanks for the prime. Oh, because you'll get confused and kill your system. Well, hopefully not, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. Think of the entertainment value killing my system gives. It's the whole reason for doing Linux from scratch. All right, so we have this. So now let's pull up Linux from scratch over here. Linux from scratch. And we're gonna just come back into LFS. We're gonna go read online, and we're gonna go stable system D. We're on to chap 6. This chapter is how we cross-compile basic utilities and build a cross-tool chain. The utilities are installed on their file location and cannot be used yet. Basic tasks still rely on the host tools. Nevertheless, installed libraries are used when linking. Great. All right, cool. So first up, installation of M4. Let's get it. So M4 is next. XVF M4. M4. And this one, we're actually not doing a build. We're just doing a configure. So we'll configure M4. I'm not leaving till Chris kills his system. Well, that's not saying much. Might just wait 5 minutes and we'll get there. All right, so we got our configuration. Now we just do a make install. So we go make, and then while that's making, we're gonna just grab this. Now, technically, I think we could just change the destination directory and manually do this. I feel like making an alias for this. I'm tired of typing it. All right, so now we did that. M4's in, M4. All right, on to the next. Now we go in curses. Yes, in curses. You know, I think we have the extract command now because we changed the bash prompt here. Let's see if this works. Switch it up a little bit. Extract isn't there, is it? Well, it was a good thought. We'll just do it the old school way. All right, cd into in curses. And then we're going to first do sed. We're going to be changing and substituting out mock with nothing. Basically just erasing MAWK. Ensure that gawk is found first during the configuration. Okay. So mock, should that say gawk? I feel like that's a typo. Shouldn't it be gawk? Wow, thanks, Peter. I did merge request just to add a show help function. Cool. Not a typo. Okay. Gawk is the GNU. Okay. Well, never mind. We shall not run that command. I don't want to. It just looked like a typo to me. All right. Paste that in. Configure. And then we got this once we switch to the build. All right. So now we're building in curses. We'll do the make and then these. The meaning of this install tick path. We need to pass the newly built tick program onto the build machine. Then we got libcurses sw. Sed. Going to match if dot start open. Substitute with if. Okay. Cool. Nice. All right. Oops. Should have done a make before this. Oops. That's okay. We'll just go make. We'll just run it again. Sure, it's fine. Alrighty, good stuff. Although it does say failed to create symbolic link. User in curses file exists. That's okay. Alright, on to the next. Bash. Let's grab that. Born again shell is what bash stands for. I didn't know that. Learned something new. Cool. Alright, our in curses. It would suck to do all this and then just get to the end and be like, yeah, you did it wrong. I mean, technically that probably will happen. It is Linux from scratch. And I think that feels like the Linux from scratch experience. Make snapshots if you have better FS. Well, I got time shift. So we're solid on this regardless. Always have your backups. I agree. It saved our bacon, like when we did the whole like Bazite side project where we kind of installed Bazite and tried to do like the pass through. We actually did all that. It worked pretty darn well. I was like, oh man, that was surprisingly a good project. I didn't anticipate liking Bazat as much as I did. But I say all that because we did have like an old time shift from the Arch. We had to like rebuild it and like change the UUID and a few other things, but it wasn't bad. All right, core utils is next, guys. We're jamming right through it. How much? I kind of get the gist of this now. I just don't understand what's the, I mean, I kind of get the purpose of Linux from scratch, but I guess it's just because you can just like do it all yourself, which is kind of nice. Just my thought process. Do you have time shift inside the VM? No. For the VM, we could just do a snapshot. So if you're unfamiliar with like using QEMU, you can come into here and let's say you're like, hey, I want to take a snapshot from here. You can actually, I want to say snapshots, and then you can just add snapshot 1, finish. Operation not supported. Internal snapshots of the VM with pflash based firmware are not supported. Oops. Anywho, I don't feel like troubleshooting this right now, but the QEMU and Vert Manager has a built-in snapshot capability, and you can just use that. Works pretty well. What was my last command I ran? Oh, the config. So let's do a make. If this fails, I blame chat for distracting me. It's all chat's fault. Start hedging my bets. All right, so fix that. Bam, core utils in. Diff utils. It's YouTube chat's fault. That's awesome. Okay. Jennifer Jones actually said in YouTube chat, should be Grok, stranger in strange land reference. Interesting. All right, next up is diff utils. All right, remove RF core utils and get our diff utils, and then we're gonna do a configure. I feel like just totally making that. Can't use that right now, so if you screw up LFS, you'll have to start from scratch. Oh well. It's not gonna be the end of the world having to start all this over. I think I would probably just do like a whole script and just script the entire thing. Like there's so much repetition with LFS, especially this. I get why they do it like this, because you're supposed to be reading and like fully comprehending each command you're running, and then they break down what each part of the configure command does. It's really cool from a build experience, and that's why they do it this way. But you could technically, I'd probably just do a bash script and call it a day. Yeah, just my 2 cents. Did I finish all that? I felt like there was something else after that. No, there isn't. All right. There's just so much just like moving around in here that you're just like, oh, more of it. I mean, it's not bad though. If you screw it up, you're gonna have to do install Gentoo. Gentoo's actually got binaries now, so Gentoo's not as bad as it once was, where everything's compiled. They actually started hosting binaries, so I guess you almost have to go Linux from scratch now to be considered a true neckbeard. Gentoo is just not the mountain it once was. Did I hit that? Oh no, the LFS TGT. Oh no, we got it. Okay, no, we're good. Oh, good. I was worried there for a second. I was like, oh no, we messed up the LFS TGT, but nope, we didn't. We're all good. Nothing. Huh, okay. So that's made, copy. Then we have some symlinks I think it needs to remove. Oh, it just wants to get rid of this. Lib magic. Okay. Next up is find utils. All right, configure this guy. When I run in rare occasions, I tend to make long steps, and therefore less movement requirements. Okay. All right. So this was the config. Then we just do a make, right? Then we do the make install. All right. We got find utils done. Moving on to Gawk. All right. And for Gawk, we got to do a sed with a replace, it looks like. Substitute that out, and then we're just going to configure this. Then we got to make and then a make install again. You can skip make and just do make install. Thanks, man. I was thinking that same thing. I guess the make can help with like some error messages, but I'm usually pretty good at spotting those. All right. All right, we got Gawk. Next up's going to be grep. Dude, I love me some grep, man. Couldn't live without that. Actually, I think, yeah, XVF. Grep. Oops. There we go. Grep. Ah, nope. Let's do our configure. Man, these config commands are kind of wild. I guess because of the cross compile. Yeah, I don't know. I'm reading your chat there, Peter. I think maybe one day I might get there. I guess I'm just a busy guy. So now we got gzip for the next one. All right, tar xvf and gzip. Gzip. All right. Configure. Force him to learn Rust. Well, I'm holding you guys to it. We'll see. Yeah, configure.help. I really love the TLDR command. So like if you're just getting into it, I just absolutely adore TLDR. It just gives so many like really good examples. Oh, so nice. All right. Funny, thanks for the sub, man. New subscriber, all right. Lots of new subs today. Got like 3 people that are first time subbing. Good to see you guys. Love it. All right. All I had to do was just do a Linux from scratch. That's what everybody was waiting on. They were just waiting for me to do Linux from scratch. All right, the patch command. We'll be using that, right? All right, make Proton. All right. Thank you for the prime, good sir. All right, so we got our config. Now let's just do our make install. Question for chat and Chris Dice. How many people in reality actually use terminal knowing what commands they input, paste, do? Ooh, probably like 5% SM. You know, I'd say for me, yeah, probably about, I'm probably around 70 or 80% of the commands I type in, I'm pretty familiar with. Some of them, like I say 70 or 80% because there's sometimes I use options that aren't quite like I know exactly what it does, but I got a gist of it. So that's kind of like my thought process behind it. And a Z, thanks for the sub. All right, so we got patch going. We got this going. All right, now we got our make install cd ... remove patch. All right, yep. Focus. You got this. We're getting towards the end. We're getting towards the end here. The end of the chapter. So now it's sed's turn. I think most of these config commands are pretty repetitive at this point. Yeah. All right, so now we're getting sed going. Now do our config. I kind of feel like just doing a bang im. Well, I know that's a little dicey. Did it do the right command? I was feeling like living on the edge. Yes, it did. I was like, I'm tired of typing all this in. I think probably most of the people that fail LFS just get lost probably in there, and then they end up missing one command, and then that's it. Then it's game over. All right, now we got tar. All right. Yeah, this is the first LFS install I've ever done. You could untar all of them. The problem is we might run out of space because you got to compile and do that. That's why it's a little tedious doing it this way, but it kind of is a good check and balance. I'm taking a couple shortcuts here because, well, frankly, I just want to get done, and get to the point where we actually try it out. I don't want to leave the stream with like still a whole bunch of packages left. XZ, oh, the infamous XZ, guys. This one actually requires a little bit different of a config command. Well, let's not do that. And then we got to remove this archive tool. All right. Getting close. Build utils. Pass 2. Here we go. And now we go into bin utils. 2.4. Okay. So now let's go tar xvf bin utils. Interesting. So we're doing a second pass on bin utils. Then we got the make directory build, change directory into it. Okay, and then config. Now we already built bin utils once, so this is kind of an interesting change. Cool though. That's wrong. Well, what happened there? Let's just do a make real fast and see. Well, yeah, I didn't do the right thing. I'm going to try and do a make, and then we'll do a make install. Yeah, I don't think it did the correct command, but that's okay. We'll just do the make install again. It should be dest dir. So it's an actual portion of, it's a variable in make. So you wouldn't use the $sign because it's not a user variable. It's just part of make. So you're saying, hey, destination directory equals this variable, which is LFS. So now if we do make okay, yeah, we're good. That one, it took that time. But see, I'm reading. I'm not just copy pasting everything. Just mostly. All right, let's get out of here. And as the first build of GCC, well, all right, we're doing a pass. Okay, unpack and tarball them in required directories. So let's XBF GCC. We'll see how well I can read though. Oh geez. All right, so then it says that there's these inside of GCC. Let's see. Okay, yes, they are inside. So now we are building 64. Change the directory for these to lib. Okay. Then we're going to do a sed, changing thread header in the make file. Then finally we go into our build directory, make and build. And then we got our full configuration. All right, so now we have that. We'll do a make and then our make install. And then we're actually creating a link for once instead of destroying one. That's exciting. Yeah, the nice thing is the Xeon processor, I've only allocated about 16 cores to this thing. And it just chews right through links from scratch. Because when we did the full compile of the Linux kernel, it took 3 or 4 minutes. It was not bad. Where some people have like taken days to build the Linux kernel. So this system's really good for Linux from scratch. As most Linux from scratch installs would be just a giant snore fest. Where this one, you know, we're churning through it at a pretty good clip. Yeah, I'll remove the bin utils folder. I forgot. Well, I didn't really forget. I looked at it and I was like, maybe we'll come back to it. We'll get rid of GCC and bin utils after this, though. This one's actually taking a little bit, too. Yeah. You can actually see our processor pegged at 50. If I had to rebuild the test environment again, I probably would go ahead and switch it out to probably like 80% of my cores available. So probably like 26 or 28 cores instead, just to make it a little bit faster. Can you tell me what happened to the RTX 7800? Yeah, the 7800, I moved to my inside Windows PC, and it's great for gaming. Like the 7800 XT is a fantastic gaming GPU, and all I really do on that one's game. It has some Resolve, but Resolve, it works pretty good on Resolve, I think. I don't do a lot of work in there, except for maybe these streams I like to chop up inside. I'll probably do that later tonight. So I'll let you know on the 7800 XT Windows-based usage. But overall, the 4070 has been a champ. I've this past day I've traded in Team Red for Team Green. Sad. Yeah, right now we're doing a J16 for the make. So this should be 16 threads instead of 8 threads. Now, I don't see our processor going. Did this finish? No, not yet. Oh, yeah. That was the thing, too. You guys remember how Helldivers 2 just kept failing over and over? It actually works now. This was so strange to me. So, here, let's just launch Steam. We'll just show it why it's doing that make. I think it was... Oh, it's still building. Close out of that. So here's our Steam, and then let's hit Helldivers 2. Now for the actual options, this is the options I'm running. Just Mango HUD, game mode run, and then it's just the -- use D3D11, right? So nothing crazy here, just basic options. Yeah, I'm running the build environment for Linux from scratch in a VM. So we can see that it's still building. Probably shouldn't run this while building Linux from scratch, but it's fine. It'll be okay. Entertainment. It could be from Linux 6.9. It works. True. The problem is I tried all this before this, and it was not good. So when I say the NVIDIA is working a lot better for me, I mean, it's working a lot better. Like a lot better. I did not remove the other NVIDIA GPU. You can pass through multiple NVIDIA cards. The thing is, you can't pass through multiple NVIDIA cards that are the same. So how pass-through works is you're specifying the hardware ID. So if the hardware IDs match or are very similar, you're going to run into a bad time. But that was like a 1660. So a very old GPU I was passing through to my Windows box. And because I do most of my gaming, obviously, just in Linux. Most of the games I play, these days I'm playing a ton of Fallout 76. Maybe some other like Bethesda type games. But there's nothing I play that I can't just play on Linux. I'm trying to think of something that I would... Maybe like EverQuest. Like back in the day, I still love pulling up EverQuest from time to time. And that's pretty good. But yeah, the rest of it's fine. And things just work better. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Like I said, I've been a shill for AMD for like the past 4 years. I'm like, hey, if you're in Linux, use an AMD card. And here we are. Just popped in a 4070. And dude, it works really well. Like, look. Just capped. 60 capped. Smooth as butter. Oh my gosh. See? Like, you gotta love that. How awesome is that? Anyways, back to our build. Did we do a make on that? Yeah, that was a make. Let's do our make install. So, yeah, I mean, it's so good. This is not NVIDIA OpenDriver. This is just the closed source DKMS. And, like, when we're doing this, like, check this out, guys. This is the Zen kernel. Like, using custom kernels with, like, a DKMS module in the past was a nightmare. That's no longer a thing, at least from what I could see. Or maybe I've just gotten more knowledge since the last time I tried it. But regardless, just make sure whatever you're using, custom kernel or not, you got your headers, right? You got your Linux dash headers for whatever kernel you're using. Then you just install NVIDIA dash DKMS. That's it. You're done. Install your card, reboot, it just boots right in. That's the only configuration I did when I slammed in the 4070 Super. And it just took, and I've had zero problems with Resolve, with games, with everything. And I'm like, dude, this, when I say it's working really well for me, I mean it's working really well for me. So yeah, and you don't necessarily need to use NVIDIA DKMS. You could just use standard NVIDIA. It would work great too. If you were just on stock kernel, which most people will be on stock kernel. There's not really a reason to use Zen. I just wanted to be different. All right, so we got that. So we got our link done. Now let's remove RF. We're gonna go GCC, and was it bin utils? Yeah, I think it was bin utils as well. So let's get rid of GCC and bin utils. All right, Chapter 7: Entering Chroot and building additional temporary tools. Let's get it. It's about to enter phase 2 of the Linux from scratch install. Changing ownership. All right, now we change ownership of this to root. All right, currently the whole directory hierarchy in LFS is owned by the user LFS. This exists only on the host system. If directories of the file are blah, 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 if they're kept as they are, user ID without a corresponding account. This is dangerous because the user created it later, blah, 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 could do stuff and manipulation. All right, cool. To address this, change the ownership of all of these to root. All right. All right. So now, Oops. Did I just do that on my home system? Oh, shit. I'm sure it's fine. No. We're fine. So luckily my incompetence kept me out of trouble there. Because we're still on our main system. Not on our main system. We're still on the other system. We just LFS equals T. The thing about that I'm like, okay. Yeah, we're fine. Slight hiccup. Let's just echo LFS. Shit. 1 second here. All right, now we're good. All right, now we're cooking. Monk, yeah, you're about to see some beautiful, beautiful things happen here. So we got our directories. All right, and then we're gonna bind these directories. Bind them. Mold them. Yes. Then we shall mount them. Oops. Out. Oopsies. My bad. A little bit overzealous there on the copy paste. All right, there we go. So now we got our mounts. We're looking good. Now change that. And temporary mounted the shim. Entering the CH root. All right, the moment of truth. Can we troot into it? LFS troot time. Shit. Do we not have bin? Oh, Helldivers 2, Zed? No, you can run it in a VM. There's also ways to trick the VM to make sure it's in bare metal as well. So you can just do Helldivers 2. One, you can emulate it directly, and you can just do it right on your main machine in Linux. Or if you wanted to do it through a VM, you can modify your XML for your VM to hide that in fact it's a VM. You don't necessarily always want to do this. I would set up like a script to take it on and off. Hikari Knight's done this a whole bunch. And that's that method works, but you do lose a little bit of performance when you hide it as a VM because there's some optimizations that happen. So Thor probably just hadn't seen that before. Yeah. Thor's great though. I love Thor. He's amazing, dude. All right, user bin environment is not there. Why is that not there? User bin env. It's there. All right, well. CH root. So for this, we're on root on the Arch server. We're in MNT. So you're CH rooting into MNT. Why does it not like that? Yeah, let's check if it's a... Surely it does. env. Yeah, it's there. That's what I thought. And then if you ls user bin over here, you got env over here. And just to double check this even more, let's grab env. It is executable too. So why does it not like it? Which source package contains env? I want to say that big letter, I think that's I want to say that was like the Linux package. That's pretty core of the system. Maybe we need to be as the LFS user, possibly. We can try it. Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have to be root. Doesn't make any sense to run it as a secondary user because if you're CH rooting into something, you need to be at the highest elevation. Maybe I did something when I was preparing it. I did mount. Oh, I did mount stuff twice. Yes, that's what did it. I bet you. Let's just go LSAL. User bin. Well, no. That looks right. How's LFS going? About as well you think it would be. Yeah, Ron, doing that would have worked if I actually mounted it there, but I actually mounted LFS directly to the MNT. So the actual official directories, I'm seeing if there's anything in there. That variable, though, I set to that. So, all right. Well, let's Google it. Google it. Let's just double check. I think when we... Let's just go here. Okay, there it is. Yeah. Did you echo LFS and make sure there's actually something there? Yeah, MNT. Yeah, well, I didn't do MNT. I should have probably done that just to keep the same as directions, but it's fine. It's mentioned in this thread, posted after I posted this one. The issue was the symlinks not being made properly. I've redone up to chroot and it has worked thus far. So for the symlinks, and LFS is mounted, right? Yes. Okay, what is LFS dev and LS proc as they're virtually mounted? Okay, LS dev, LS proc. Yeah, those are all good and populated. Yeah, we got through all the churning portion of it, so that's good. Proper environments variables set. LFS is mounted. Virtual systems mounted according to the guide. Yes. Similar problem. Feel like there's like an environment variable I didn't set though, because we had to relaunch everything, and me not leaving the system running, I regret shutting it down. I'm pretty sure I didn't set something up correctly when I relaunched it. Probably in this chapter 5.5, the links, symlinks not made properly. Let's go back to 5.5, take a look. We can redo, has been resolved. Took you 2 to 3 hours. Oh my gosh, that is patience of a saint. We ain't doing 2 or 3 hours of rebuilding this crap. All right, go 5.5. Let's find those symlinks. Let's rerun it. Cross compiling, setting up the environment. 5.51. Okay, let's go. Nope. GCC. Nope. API headers. I still don't see any symlinks in here. 5.5. Okay, here we go. This is it. Additionally, create symbolic for glib. glibc. Okay. Let's switch user LFS. Let's go into sources. And that was glibc. glibc. Now we have all of that. We should be able to do the proper links here. You know what? Let's echo LFS. Okay, that's permission denied. Okay. Interesting. Sudo it. No, that's terrible. Okay. All right. Dang, if I do sudo, it's going to set the permissions incorrectly. That's a problem. Let's see. What does the internet have to say about this? No, be as root and force it. That's great. Let's try Linux from scratch. Same garbage. Oh my gosh, the days of actually getting something good here, I think, is kind of over. Failed to create symbolic link on glib install. Okay, it's not a link. My guess is the error you're not having is LFS lib64 created first. Oh, okay. Damn, okay. Let's see what's in LFS lib64 first. Really? Nothing? Nothing, huh? Lib64. Lib64's root. Oh, when we did the ch own, we're not able to do it. Oh, that makes sense actually. So to fix this this link, what we could do, ch own LFS lib64. 64 actually. Let's take a look at that. That makes sense to me. Okay, no. We're back. We're fine. So we got that and then 64. So what we're going to do is ch own LFS to lib and lib64. And then when we do that, on the lib, let's do that recursively. Recursive. And don't worry, we're going to fix this. We're going to fix this. I'm not going back and redoing all this crap. It's not happening. I'll do 1,000 pull-ups before we do that. So now what we're going to do, switch user to LFS, go to sources again, see glibc. Now we're in glibc, right? Bam. Now we can establish these links again. Perfect. No error that time. Now with those errors in, let's go home. Let's come back into the cleanup portion. is right at the introduction, I think. And then changing the ownership of all these. See, we just ran these commands, and what we're doing is we're just changing the ownership. So when we come back into MNT, and we change the ownership, well, let's exit, change the ownership back. Now we're back to root everywhere, which is fine. And now we should be able to get into the chroot environment. Easy. Victory! We're in. We've trooted in. Victory is ours. Easy. You had doubts. I quelled those doubts. Done. Trooted. Now the bash prompt will say, I have no name. This is normal because there's no etcp. All right, continuing on. On our way to conquest. Here we go. All right, create our directories and do some cleanup here. Create our subdirectories from the root level. Ooh, cancel. Let's see, what do we got? Did I fat finger that? Ah, the text to be pasted contains terminal control codes. If a terminal program being pasted in does not properly sanitize the pasted text, this can lead to code execution vulnerabilities. How would you like to proceed? Interesting. I've never seen this when pasting code into it. Do we sanitize or do we paste? Paste anyways, right? Paste anyways. I like it. Live on the edge. Sanitization. No, not in this house. All right. That's good. All right. The directory tree, blah, blah, blah. File system hierarchy standard. Such as that. In LFS, we create only directories that are really necessary. However, feel free to create more directories if you wish. All right, creating the essential files. Now we're making the M tab. Interesting. And then we create our host file, which I'm not familiar. Paste anyways. That is so interesting. I've never seen that done before. Let's just cat etc host. I'm just worried that Kitty is sanitizing something it shouldn't. Nah, looks good. Now we got our password file. What the heck is that? So strange. It just started doing that today. I've never had it do that at any point in life. Huh. Maybe because it's SSH. That kind of makes sense. Any thoughts on setting up Zabbix or Grafna on Linux in a stream? Grafna, Zabbix, I mean, definitely interesting projects, but it's been a while since I've set up stuff like that. There's up to time Kuma as well and some other ones that I've looked at. I'm kind of old school in the system monitor type thing, so a lot of times it's SSH. It's always SSH, Peter. A lot of times though, I'm kind of a Nagios fan from way back in the day. Probably no one even knows Nagios these days, or Nagios, or however the heck you say it. I've always called it Nagios. Sounds cool. It's like nachos. Nagios. It just rolls off the tongue. But I don't even know if that's around anymore. It's not popular on YouTube anymore, but you saw it in business like 10 years ago, quite often. It's the open source standard in monitoring used by UPS, BP, Apple, Bose, Philips. Anyways, they have a community edition. I remember using, and I had to like program and create plugins for. It was cool and it worked. It was kind of cumbersome, but it did the job. It's pronounced Nagios. Hey, that's how I like it. But yeah, no, I don't really have anything for like direct monitoring because I mean everything's in this room, and there's really not like I mean this sounds kind of like I don't really go anywhere, so it's like, oh, things are down, let me go run over there and just press the power button. It's not like I'm away anywhere, so it's like although I would like some like historics or historical data of what's going on with like internet and that type of thing. There's some that's replied by some of the Unify stuff I have. That's okay. It's like very rudimentary. So yeah, just my thoughts. Kitty, have an input lag on your system? Maybe it is. Maybe if I had Alacrity, it wouldn't be that way. Alas, here we are. All right, now we grab the groups file. I feel like we should just like get all this stuff. Just my 2 cents. All right, creating all the groups. Now we're echoing tester. Really? Okay, we're to delete this account at the end of the... Okay, like I don't want my username to be tester, but that's fine. Now we execute, bash login. Now we are root. Oh, creating some var log files and such. Alrighty, that looks good. And now we got get text. Installation of get text. Ooh, interesting. So now that we're moving on to the latent chapter 7, we've done all this as root. All right. And this is setting up this, but we still have like login and getty to do. Not already exists initially as log files, whatever. Yeah. Who really cares about that right now? So for this, do we switch from root to LFS again? I guess since we're chroot, it doesn't matter. So technically, you should just be able to go sources. Oh, let me think about this. I don't want to screw up on something else. Yeah, no, we're fine. We're fine. We're gonna do it as root, and that's totally okay. Get text, cd get text, because now we're in phase 2, so running as root is okay. And then we do the configure. Notice how the configure is kind of chopped down. You're no longer having to specify like destination directory and those types of things because we're chrooted in. Yeah, there is no LFS user to go to as well. So we're officially in our Linux from scratch install. We've accomplished the impossible. So then we'll do a make, and then we'll install MSG FMT, message merge, and then get text programs into the USR bin. That's an interesting way of doing it. I wonder why they're not using make install here. Yeah, make install usually puts it in USR bin. Probably some reason. Probably something with the cross compile. Now I can silently say I'll use Linux from scratch. Yeah. Just doesn't have the same ring to it as an Arch. I'm an Arch user. Although you could do I think beyond Linux from scratch is the next next go here. Now that was the config, so now we do the make. This should make our binaries, and then we should be able to copy those binaries over to our USR bin. The name is a lie. I never tried doing it, but it feels like Linux from another Linux with packages provided to be built, where my shims and provisioning is... You know, you're not wrong. I think Linux from scratch is pretty much... There's one guy that did it pretty much just like he took all the packages that are needed, the bare minimum, and kind of said, okay, here's all the packages, and then let's use sed and kind of like strip out some of the things that make it not work, and then like package it back together and go, okay, here we go, this works. So I mean, I really appreciate it. I think it's cool, but I agree with you. It's not really from scratch because you're still grabbing everything from official sources. It's cool, and I'm glad someone's doing this. Would I ever run my main system as Linux from scratch? No. Like, why? I think it's really a good learning experience. It's cool. But I don't know. I mean, why wouldn't you just use Debian or Arch? I guess in case they go rogue and start doing something silly, you're like, okay, at least I can do it from scratch, which is good. But I don't know. I feel like if you're doing like your new, like if you're making a new Linux distribution, you need to get in here and do this. If you're just doing like another like Ubuntu or Debian spin, I really don't care about that project. Worthless distribution is what I say. There's, you know, it's just a script at that point. It could just be Debian with a script. I think that's like 95% of the distros out there. It's like Arch with a script, Debian with a script. That's pretty much what all those distros are doing it. There's some nuance to that, but not very much. Really, those two distros like encapsulate most of Linux desktop. All right, let's copy these. And Bison is next. Bison. All right. So we copied those out. Let's just, how are we doing on our space, by the way? Plenty of space to spare, 14 gigs. All right, Bison. All right, and now we do our configuration of Bison. Oh my word. What in the world is up with that? I gotta figure out. Something with SSH and Kitty. It has some kind of weird failsafe. That's annoying. New question. What distro is Linux from scratch? Like its name. What is its package manager? Omega. It doesn't have a package manager. It's using... It's actually a really good question. It's literally just using the Linux kernel and then some of the tool sets that are used to like make packages. The thing that drives me crazy about like online Linux users is people think like their distribution actually matters. Like, yeah, to an extent, it makes your life simpler to do stuff, but at the end of the day, it's all sitting on top of like, usually it's Linux, the Linux kernel. Then you have like the init system, which is usually system D, which is made by Red Hat, which initializes most of the system components. And then on top of system D, you're going to have probably like some GNU tool sets like GCC, right? That's what's used to build C programs. And then you might have like Python and other stuff, but these are the things that make up the system. The distro doesn't do really anything. All a distro is like a collection of stuff, and it's just picking those pieces out for you. So what Linux from scratch essentially is it's just the Linux kernel with just a little few packages needed to make programs and compile programs. So then you can make the most minimal system possible. That's really what's cool about from Linux from scratch. And that's all this is. It's not like this crazy thing. And I think a lot of people think, oh, I have to do Ubuntu, or I have to be an Arch user, or I have to be a Gentoo user, pick your poison, Red Hat, Fedora. They all have their nuances, but all it is fundamentally, almost all of them now, I can tell you the parts. You have the Linux kernel, that's there, right? You have system D, almost everything I just named, Debian, Arch, Red Hat, they all use system D for the init system. So those two components really don't change. And then you have like the GNU tool set on top of it. So almost all the GNU stuff is like GCC and those types of things. That doesn't really change. So almost all of them have that. So really then you're like, okay, so what's the differences between the distributions? Not a whole lot. You got package managers, but honestly, you don't even need to use repositories or package managers. You could straight up just build everything. No matter what Linux you're on, what distribution, you could literally just download the source, make it, put it in USR bin, run it. That's awesome. Totally awesome. Yes? Okay. So that's so cool. So that's why I kind of get worked up a little bit about it. I'm like, so we can just make Bison, make install. So what we're doing right now is we don't have a package manager, and we just made Bison. We made GCC. We just made all these. It's one of those things. I love it though. I mean, it's cool. Like Linux from scratch is neat because it teaches you some of that. It teaches you kind of what comprises that Linux thing. That's why I was like, I need to make a more in-depth video, and I get back into doing that type of thing because too many people get confused and go, I have to be on Pop OS or Ubuntu or Debian or, all those things. I'm like, that's all pretty much the same. Hell, Debian, Ubuntu, Pop OS, Elementary, Linux Mint, every single one I just named from the distributions use the same package manager. Essentially, they're damn near the same thing. Just a couple little system variables are changed between them. And some of them, like Ubuntu, uses a little bit different kernel. Sometimes it has like a few extra features like live patch. You can get in the weeds on this stuff. There's little nuances between them, but to say they're fundamentally different is just a lie. They are very similar. Okay, sorry. Get off my soapbox now. I'm exhausted. I think it was good. I think we made a lot of progress on old Linux from scratch. We're at 7.8, or actually we're up to Perl 7.9. If we look here, we're right here on our packages. We are almost done. Just a few more things to build there. Maybe we'll get there pretty soon. I did finish Bison. Now we're at Perl, and then Python, and then text. So to address someone earlier too, if this was a package manager, like say you're on Debian and you wanted to do all this, everything we just spent like an hour doing, it'd take you 30 seconds to a minute. You would just go apt install and then just paste all the packages we just had, and then it would just install everything we just did for the past hour. That's kind of cool, right? That's the whole purpose of a package manager. But having said that, guys, we're going to shut it down for today. We're officially 7.5 chapters into Linux from scratch. I gotta say it's going pretty well so far. I love it. All right, y'all. Hope you have a fantastic evening. I will be seeing you guys here on Thursday, and we'll see if we continue. I don't know. We'll take another poll. You guys just love to see Linux from scratch. Bunch of weirdos. All right. Peace all.